What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. If you give me the HKO special, help the king out, hit the like, subscribe, and comment. All right, so there's a issue here. The NAIA bans transgender women from competing in this league. So let's get down with the article and let's check this article out. Yes. So the NAIA bans transgender women from competing in women's sports. Yeah, this is the National Association of Collegiate Athletes, which oversees mostly 200s, mostly small colleges. Is the most recent sports government to restrict participation of transgender athletes. So, yep, the NAIA voted. So let's take a look at the article. So the National Association of Collegiate Athletics, or the NAIA, which oversees more than 83,000 athletes at mostly smaller colleges, has rolled out a new policy that bans transgender women from competing in women's sports, making it the first major college sports government in the U.S. to do so. The policy states the only student athletes who assign sex at birth as female will be allowed to compete on the NAI-sponsored women's sports teams. The organization council president voted 20-0 to approve this policy on Monday, and it will take effect August 1st. So under the new policy, transgender men and transmasculine students can compete on women's team if they haven't started masculizing hormone therapy. Those who have will also be barred from NAIA competition, but they can participate in workouts, practices, and team activities for women's team. However, the NAIA policy states their participation is at the discretion of their college. All students, including trans men and trans women, will be allowed to compete on men's teams, according to the policy. So the NAIA did not immediately return a request for comment. Jim Carr, the organization's president and CEO, told the Associated Press that the policy was deemed best for member schools, but also acknowledged that it will likely be seen as controversial. So we know there are a lot of opinions. A lot of people have a very emotional reaction to this, and we want to be respectful of that, Carr said. But we feel like our primary responsibility is fairness and competition, so we're following that path, and we tried as best as we could do to allow more participation by all. Now, the move makes the NAI, which oversees more than 200 schools, the latest governing body to restrict the participation of transgender students, as trans people participation in various aspects of public life and has become increasingly politicalized. And half of the states have passed laws, regulation in recent years that restrict or completely bar trans students from competing on the elementary, middle, high school, or college sports teams that align with their gender identities. And of course, NAIA had a transgender sports body that was similar to the NCAA, the body that oversees collegiate athletes for more than 1,000 colleges and universities. Since 2011, the NCAA allowed trans women to compete on the women's sports team if they underwent a year of testosterone suppression. But the NCAA changed that policy in 22 following the controversy over Leah Thomas, a trans University of Pennsylvania swimmer who won a number of races early in the season and went on to win an NCAA championship. The NCAA adopted a sport-by-sport approach that determined eligibility based on guidelines set by the national or international government of each sport. So in response to the NCAA policy change, the NAIA formed a transgender task force in April 22. The Human Rights Campaign, the national largest LGBTQ advocacy organization, denounced the NAIA's new policy Monday. So today, the NAIA decided to bar an entire category of people from competition simply because of a right-wing outrage campaign that purposely misgenders and distorts the reality of transgender athletes while doing nothing to support women's sports. Kelly Robinson, the organization, said the statement, the benefit of sports is to the mind, body, and spirit, and well known. Every student, including transgender athletes, deserve the opportunity to be part of a team and learn about sportsmanship, self-discipline, perseverance, and more. But let's look here. Sarah Burkhardt, directly of the Non-Binary Transgender Rights Project at Lambda Legal, a national LGBTQ, well, now it's plus rights legal organization, went a step further, saying NAIA's new policy is inconsistent with the law and signs. It is unconscionable that an organization touts a strong history of active advocacy has chosen its power to smack down rather than lift up these vulnerable athletes, Richard said in a statement. But both Butcher and Robinson touted recent comments by South Carolina women's coach Dauncey, who said before her team won the NCAA championship game Sunday that she supports trans women's inclusion on women's sports team. I'm on the opinion if you're a woman, you should play, Stanley told reporters. If you consider yourself a woman and you want to play sports or vice versa, you should be able to play. That's my opinion. And then if we can go on, and then, of course, at the end, in 23, the Department proposed a rule that changed Title IX to bar blanket prohibitions on trans students competing on sports teams that align with transgender identities. However, the measure would permit some restriction, more elite levels of sports competition, such as high school and college, and the department planned to finalize and release that rule in March. There have been multiple delays. Yeah, so, the problem here is, not the participation, but, you're going to injure girls in this because, that transgender was male at birth, and we're going to have them compete in women's sports and take away a lot of opportunity in the women's sports. That's usually the real concern, because males just dominate and just, injure the women. There's not going to be a lot of, for that. And what's going to happen next? Does the male compete, like especially in volleyball, knocks the crap out of that ball, hits the girl in the head, and this time it kills her? So do we have to witness that to get any change? So yeah, just we have to see what's going to happen here. But NAIA has made a stance, and that's what it is. All right, so if you enjoyed Andy's content, please give me the HKO special, help the king out, hit the like, subscribe, and comment. So wherever you are, I'll see you in my next video.